Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 76 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. And as I am recording this, we are heading into the end of November 2023, into that latter part of the year. And I've just done sort of like a little count of how many episodes between now and 2024, and there is 6. So I don't want to set off any Christmas panic or anything like that, but I thought it would be useful as I turn towards the end of the year and start to look to next year that I take you on that journey with me. And with that, talk about seasonal stuff that comes up at this time of year for us yoga teachers, and also how we can use this time of year, energetically, because, in the UK, in Cornwall right now, it's cold, it's wet, the evenings are pretty dark. Energetically, things are different, and that obviously gets reflected back into how we feel about how we might be working, what we might be working on, what sort of time and energy that we have. And I think, we all have cycles. We have our seasonal cycles as women. Pre-menopause, we have our menstrual cycle, and when we start to pay attention to the cycles around us, both within our bodies and around nature, and start to use them towards to our advantage, and talk often about being in the flow and the balanced energy, and how when we tap into this, things become so much more doable for us, so much easier. What am I doing at this time of year energetically that might, be reflective of the energy that's around me and where I am energetically? Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I'm so easily distracted. Have you noticed? And there's nobody in here to ask me a question to distract me. I'm distracting myself. So today's topic is, I want to talk to you about the benefits of doing a charity yoga class or a charity event, or contributing to some sort of charity event at this time of year. And it can be any time of year, but often at this time of year is when we might be thinking about raising money or doing something for causes that we care about. And let's just say, obviously, the primary reason why we would do anything like that, because we want to raise money for the charities that we care about. And that is at the heart of all my decisions, 100%, right? But I think what gets missed is the reciprocity. And that word reciprocity is a great word, actually, because I'm going to be talking about you giving up your time for free to raise money or to support a charity, a cause that's close to your heart, right? And brilliant. That's going to make us feel good, isn't it? That's why we're ultimately doing it. It makes us feel good, and that boost of energy ripples into other areas of our life. But there is also an energy exchange here by you getting out, perhaps talking to a new group of people, perhaps because you were doing a charity yoga class and people that wouldn't have normally come, maybe they don't think yoga's their thing, or they haven't yet made time to come to your class, the multitude of reasons which are nothing to do you, but they haven't gone to class yet. They make that effort on this charity class, and then perhaps they'll make the effort in the new year. So interestingly, saying yes to an invitation from a charity to do something for them, or creating your own opportunity to raise money for a charity, is a way of marketing, a way of talking to people, a way of broadening your audience, a way of bringing new people into your audience and raising money. So I'm going to give you some examples in my business, both recent times and previously. So let's go for the most recent one. This year I started to get a calling. I'm full of ideas, right? And I do find it really hard to keep sort of a check on them, not be, oh, I've got this idea and I really want to do this and I'm running with it, and I've still got all this other stuff going on and I'm not seeing that through. Okay, that is very me, and I have to be, I have to be boundaried with myself. And if you are like that, what I suggest you do, is when these ideas come into your head, write them down. And if you're still feeling like super excited for them a week later, a month later, and you've got time now to see that idea through, go for it. If you're like, why did I think that was a good idea? Be grateful that you wrote it down and didn't act on it at the time. But one way that sort of like I came up to help me manage this thing that is me is I thought, right, I'm going to start doing some master classes. These master classes, like an idea can come to my head. I can be like, I'm just going to do, 60-minute, 90-minute session on this. And it's like a one-off thing. And I get to like get excited about this idea. I got to share this excitement with other people. And then look, I'm not making a huge commitment to something new. They're not making a huge commitment to something. And we're all benefiting from me seeing this idea through. So I was like, I'm going to start doing every now and again, like a monthly masterclass when I've got the capacity, when I've got the time to do it as well. So it wasn't feeling like there was loads of pressure that I was going to say, I'm going to do one every month. It's just like when the idea comes, when I've got the capacity to do it, I'm going to do it. And in between sort of like, 3 launches in 2023, I've done a total of 4 masterclasses as well. And the first one was the soulful art of money making. And it was kind of like early 2023, me getting a bit braver to start talking about money mindset. Because one of the biggest challenges, like whether you are like the majority of people listening to this podcast, I'm sure are female, right? I'm sure a lot of you are yoga teachers, but you might also be Pilates teacher, holistic practitioner, massage therapist, Reiki healer, working within a service-based industry and working with the body, right? And generally speaking, we are women. We're predominantly going to be women, and we're sharing our gifts, our services with the world. And the yoga industry and the wellness industry the wellness is $1 trillion industry. Yoga is $1 billion industry. And the majority of the workforce are women. And I work with a lot of people who are struggling to tap into this. And there are lots of reasons, but for me, at the heart of it all, it's because women are heavily conditioned, heavily programmed to over deliver, undercharge, feel bad about making money from our guests, feel bad about asking for money, have crazy. I am guilty of this, guys. I have just got off a mentoring call with my mentor. Yeah, my mentor. And we've been talking about the pricing of my mentorship program and what I'm offering at those certain price points, and I've had a bit of a reality check in terms of what I offer at that option 2, in terms of what I'm charging. I need to hear this stuff too. Like I over deliver. I give too much away and undercharge for my services, even to this date. Okay. And if I'm really compassionate to myself, I'm like, I am fighting against, for want of a better word, like thousands of years of generational trauma where women have been suppressed. Our energy has been suppressed. And part of that is the suppression of us accumulating wealth. And it's difficult to talk about, guys, because I find it hard, because this is me too. I'm in the same place where you are. We might be at different stages, but being where you are now, I'm definitely still on my path to unpicking all of this, to waking up at all of this, to not also be from a place of like, just angry. Oh, I'm just blaming the patriarchy. I'm just blaming the 1%. It's what I don't want to be in that energy anymore. In fact, I work quite hard nowadays to not even give an energy to that, to not even use the word patriarchy, but actually step more into my authority, my energy, my ability to share my gifts with the world and make money. And, there has been, there've been other periods of history when the news has been crap and things that have been going on in the world aren't great. But, in particular, I've been talking recently, haven't I, about the impact of, the situation in Gaza and how distressing it is, and how, even though we're not living it, it is a trauma that we are feeling, even though we're not living it. Like, I'm not taking away from the people that are actually living that trauma. I cannot even imagine it. And I want to do something about it. Yeah. And we feel powerless, right? What is the best thing I can do? And I tell you what, this gave the war in Gaza actually gave me more fire in my belly for this mission. The best thing I can do is make more money and help people through their trauma, whether directly experienced or lived, or experienced through just the trauma loop of the news, the trauma loop of this, horrific situation that, we are seeing in our lifetime. And do make as much money as I can and help others to do the same, because I truly believe that a world where women, but I'm changing that to where conscious people with kind hearts have more money. I believe that's a better place, right? So it took me a bit of confidence, I won't lie, to start saying that, because money's money. I think it's Jen Sincero, like, she put it so beautifully, like, money's a really, really loaded topic. And we can find it difficult to talk about. We'll talk about our preferences for pizza toppings, but we'll find it really, really hard to talk about our money problems or our money beliefs or our money situation or our desire to want to make money, to want to make X amount of money. Anyway, I digress. But the soulful art of money making was kind of like my first, because it happens with inside my mentorship program. Module 2 is mindset, money mindset. And when I do start to challenge those beliefs and the reason why we have those beliefs and then how we can navigate through them. But the soulful art of money making was the first time where I kind of went a bit public with this. Okay. And that's not true. Like, if you look back to, I think, is it episode one of the podcast, this podcast, I do talk about, I think it's safe to make money as a yoga teacher. That word is so important. It's safe to make money. It's safe to make money as a yoga teacher. It's safe to make money as a massage therapist. It's safe to make money from my gifts. It's safe to make money from the energy exchange of me helping people physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, working with their energy system. It's safe for me to make money. That word safe, don't think I realized at the time, it's about safety in the system, safety in the nervous system, because my nervous system is programmed, hardwired for people pleasing, undercharging, over delivering. I'm not going to go into that today. So the soulful art of money making, when did I do it, guys? Did I do it in March, April, last year? I can't remember now. But what got me past the fear of just going, hey, this is my first masterclass and I'm going to talk to you about making money. What got me past that was I did it for charity. And that was really interesting, because I then said all proceeds to this will go to charity. And I know it helped those people that signed up to it at the time. I know it helped them be okay about doing it. And I was like, I think I donated all the money. It was a couple of £100 in the end to Child Action Poverty. Because if we want to talk about charities that are close to the heart, I'm a mum of 2 children. I'm an ex-school teacher. I spent 12 years in the education system, working primarily in secondary school, but and that was right up until A levels. But actually I did go into primary schools as well as part of my role. So I have taught children right the way across the spectrum. And I just know firsthand the devastating effect that poverty has to parenting, that poverty has to a child's life chances, a child's experiences. Like, I could cry. I could cry about this because I've seen it. I've seen it as part of my job. Okay. And also as a mum of 2 children, and I know how challenging parenting is sometimes. To just imagine the impact, the stress of poverty laid onto that, I can barely imagine that it is acceptable that we have children in the UK living in poverty, but we do. Okay. And you can feel powerless. I can't change this. The statistics are so great. How can I change this? Well, I just gave you an example, and this is the power of a charity event. I put something out there. It helped me get through some things I was dealing with. So it made me just do it without worrying about what people thought, without worrying people were going to say, wow, you're just a bad yoga teacher if you're just doing it to make money. And then it helped those people that booked onto that masterclass go, well, it's okay because this money is going to charity. And I raised over £200 to Child Action Poverty. It made me feel good. And it made me feel like I wasn't powerless, that I could take action and I could make a difference. And like, you know, it will seem like a drop in the ocean against the statistics in childhood poverty. But what happens if there was accumulation effect? What happens if more of us were like, okay, I actually have the power to do this? And what is the collective energy behind that power? Okay, so let's take an example of a charity class. When I had my studio, it was absolutely standard practice that every Christmas we would have a fancy dress. You had to, you know, like Christmas leggings, Christmas jumper, Christmas dress. I just loved this class, and all proceeds went to charity. Now, we all felt good doing it. We all loved dressing up and, you know, in silly outfits for our yoga class. I, of course, did Christmas inspired class. You will not be surprised for those of you that have ever know anything about my thematic planning and storytelling within the teaching of yoga. You will know I am no short of ideas on Christmas inspired yoga poses. I don't know if you saw the other week, I shared it as part of Yinvember. The first free class I did was my Halloween inspired yin class. Like literally every yin pose was related to Halloween. Well, I'll tell you that I've been doing Christmas inspired yoga classes, and I do have a Christmas inspired yin class coming up for those in my yin club membership and on my online yin training course, should you want to do it. Maybe I'll share that anyway. But it brought us all together for a good cause, and we had fun and we felt good doing it, and I raised money for the charity. It also, interestingly, brought in, maybe not less so with that, that was it. Then the times when I've been involved in being invited to do a charity event. So I'm thinking now that we had a well-being day in the venue that my old studio was in. It was like a pretty extensive village hall. It was actually a charity building, charity community-based building, and had about 8 or so rooms and a cafe and like real hub of the community. And we actually, within the community, a young lad had took his life, and it devastated the community, right? This is horrific, right? And we decided to come together as a venue in the center of this community and run a wellbeing day. And as part of that, we invited the local vicar, we invited 2 local charities, Man Down and Georgia's Voice, one for men, one for women. We got all the users of the hall, Pilates teachers, yoga teachers, the singing teacher, the ballet teacher, you know, because it literally is like this, all came together for one day and ran free taster sessions that people could donate for. Now, the 2 classes that I run on that day, the majority of people who came to those classes were new to my world. So they, you know, and then they came into my world, and some of them then came onto the classes or didn't go onto my yoga classes, but found yoga and started going to other yoga classes. So there was the energy exchange. Not just that, in between classes, I got to chat to other users in the village hall. So I was chatting to the dance teacher, chatting to the Pilates teacher. We were saying about what we were doing, and it's not from oh well, what do you do? Oh, don't think you should do that because you're going to impact my numbers. None of that energy. It was like, oh, what night do you teach? And oh, shall we have an energy exchange? I've got some flies, you've got some flies. It's that. And this is the energy that we want, where we believe that there is room for us all to thrive and that we support each other to thrive. I also had conversations with the 2 representatives from those charities, and made connections about like, well, how could we work together in the future? All of this is making me feel good because this is stuff I passionately care about, alongside child poverty, mental health, the suicidal rates in men, young men in particular, but just, mental health in general, but the mental health of our young people, having been in secondary education, having taught up to A level, I actually really care about teenagers. I actually really like them. I actually think they need a bit more love, care, attention, but that's a topic for another day. But it was all part of this energy. And at the same time, that they're like, well, who are you? And what do you do? And I'm a yoga teacher and I do this. And then they go off, don't they? And they'll chat to their friends and they're like, oh, I got back. Oh, I really need to go to yoga. Oh, I met a lovely teacher. Do you see, this is marketing. There isn't a single real social media post, email marketing campaign, free opt-in. There isn't any of that involved in this. Well, I'm not saying that any of that stuff doesn't matter. But what I'm saying is I think the boots on the ground marketing, the talking and connecting to people face to face in these environments gets really lost and really forgotten. And this is what saying yes to working within a charity event at this time of year will do. Okay. And you're not doing it. We're not going, well, I'm going to say yes to that because I'm going to get to know a load of people and they're all going to come to my yoga classes. No, we're saying yes to this because that is a charity that, yeah, I feel like I could give some of my energy to that. I care about that. Yeah. I know someone who's been impacted by that. For example, like a few years ago, my charity class was for Children's Hospice Southwest, because I'd had two people in my life that had unfortunately, very poorly children, had been supported by the Children's Hospice in Cornwall, and it was so close to my heart that I was like, yeah, this is the charity this year. It felt good. But in exchange is people get to, hear about it. I share the pictures of this beautiful class and coming together for this cause. I share that on social media and people look at the community and go, I'd like to be part of that. Do you see how it's all part of it? And this is where with your marketing, it's not one single thing that's going to shift the dial. It's this consistent, persistent action in the direction of your dreams, which builds momentum. And why, when we do something for charity, whether it is that charity event, whether it's an online class or workshop, whether it's an in-person class or workshop, or both, you can hybrid it. I've done that before. Helps to boost your sales because people can join you online or in person, or whether it's you either accepting an invitation if a charity has invited you, or actually reaching out to a charity and saying, oh, if you've got any events coming up in the future, I'd love to be involved. These are my services. How can I help? All of that is welcome. And all of that will help in terms of your marketing endeavors. And it's like a byproduct. It's a byproduct. It's secondary to the fact that you are using your gifts to make the world a better place, to help people. And you feel good because you're helping a cause that you feel passionate about. That's why we mainly do it. But the byproduct is you get to meet new people, and the ripple effect of, oh, there's that lovely yoga teacher, there's that lovely Pilates teacher, oh, that lovely person, I think she runs a massage business and does retreats. People start talking about you, and word of mouth. I don't care what the year is. I really don't care what year you listen to this podcast in. I'm going to tell you that word of mouth, human connection is always going to be king. All right, my darlings. So if you haven't got anything planned and you listen to this podcast in the next week or so, there's still time. It's still time to do something before Christmas, or get something going for early New Year if that feels a bit stressful. You can say yes or arrange charity work at any time of year as well. And talking about looking forward to 2024, I'm going to invite you to put your name on my mentorship program, because we've been talking about this stuff for months now. We've been planning this sort of stuff for months now, because that is what happens in my mentorship program. I help to guide you to share your passion with the world with ease and turn your passion into profit. The thing is with my mentorship program, and you know, I am at the moment, like hand on heart, I am reflecting on the pricing structure because of you know, the value I bring. But I was doing some maths, like when the doors last opened, like the option 2 price was 997. And the other day I was working with someone in my mentorship program, and we came up with this fabulous idea for a 4-week online course that she's going to run in January. She's running it live. She doesn't need to pre-create anything other than a sales page, which of course I'm going to help her with, and because she's in my mentorship program. And I was like, look, charge £95 for it. You know, that's sort of like almost like the beta test price, the you know, the introductory price. I said, get 10 people on this course, that's 950 quid. You pretty much pay for your mentorship program. You know, that's one of the reasons why, you know, it's almost a no-brainer, and also why I need to consider, and this is what I want for you to do with wherever your offers are, from classes to workshops to retreats to online courses to training programs, the principle is the same. What's the return on the investment here? And you know what? The return on your investment when it comes to your yoga class is infinite, because the transformation that you bring to your students' life by introducing them and giving them yoga is life-changing. It's life-saving. It's like, it's probably, you couldn't put a price on it. But yeah, it's all about energy. All right, my darling. So get your name on the wait list. I'll confirm prices in the new year. Get your name on the wait list for my mentorship program. Whatever the price is, it's still going to be absolutely incredible value. And there's always going to be that way more affordable option 1 for those of you that want to come in and still get my eyes on their business, still get my support, but can't quite afford the one-to-one level of support. You know, option 1 is still transformational. In fact, I have someone on option 1 the other day who we just worked through on the community space, both me and those in the mentorship program, on her flyer. And the final result was spectacular. All right, my darling. So your name on the wait list. I will see you all next week.